Hi, I'm Natalie Callander, and I'm from the University of Wisconsin, the director of the myeloma program there. We've heard a lot at this meeting about immunotherapies that are up and coming for multiple myeloma. One of the most exciting categories are what are called antibody drug conjugates. And the leader of the pack right now is a drug called belantamab mafodotin, or BELMAF is the abbreviation. And this drug has been presented already in a phase 1/2 trial last ASH. Or 2 ASHs ago, and was used in a group of patients, about 35, that had primarily had a number of different therapies. A subset of them had been daratumumab exposed, and the drug was very exciting because it showed about a 60% response rate, and this is in a group of patients who've had lots of therapies. So we have some suggestions here at this meeting that the next trial called DREAM2, which has about 180 patients, and in this particular trial, the patients are going to be all DARA exposed and DARA refractory. So this is going to be a tough group of patients, but at least the suggestion that we're hearing is that the response rate in this group of patients is going to be quite comparable, which is very exciting. I think, as your audience knows, many of the new drug approvals often are looking for a response rate around 25 to 30% to approve a new drug. The suggestion is probably the response rate is going to be quite a bit higher than that for this drug. What we do know a little bit about toxicity is, this drug is given intravenously, typically over about a half an hour to an hour every 3 weeks. And the drug has some side effects, one of which people will be very used to, which is low platelets. One of the unusual ones, though, that I think really we're not quite understanding yet exactly not only what's causing it, but how to deal with it, is patients can get some ocular toxicity. And by that, it means things like dry eyes and some corneal cloudiness. Now, this all seems to improve if the drug is held, and in our experience, the patients are not losing their response during that time that they're recuperating. But I think we'll need to see if we can have more or better guidelines about how to avoid that kind of toxicity. And there's some in the DREAM2 study that'll be presented, we think, at ASH. There's going to be some different dose levels, and we're going to be looking at whether that makes an effect on some of the side effects. So what this is this is taking an antibody directed against BCMA. BCMA, B-cell maturation antigen, is a very popular target right now for lots of drug or immunotherapies because it's expressed in the majority of people who have myeloma on their cells. And in this particular molecule, this antibody is connected through a non-degradable linker to a drug. In this case, it's called auristatin, and it's a microtubule toxin. And so the idea is that this antibody binds to myeloma cells. It's then internalized, the molecule is broken down, and then the auristatin is released to do its job internally in the cell. And so there are a couple of drugs like this commercially available right now with somewhat similar, although the payload, if you will, is a little bit different. There's a drug in Hodgkin's called brentuximab, which has a little bit of similarity to this, but this is really the first in class in myeloma for this idea. Like most studies, it is set up right now in terms of the usual model for a patient who has particularly relapsed refractory myeloma. Anybody who's responding and particularly doesn't have any significant side effects, they're allowed to continue indefinitely. The drug is looking promising enough. There's a number of iterations of studies coming using this drug actually in newly diagnosed myeloma or in much earlier relapsed myeloma for people who may have had just 1 or 2 lines of therapy. But I think there's a lot of excitement about this particular compound moving forward. Dr. Trudell from Princess Margaret presented a study, for example, using belantamab or BELMAF in combination with pomalidomide and dexamethasone. Now, she only had data on a very small number of patients, I believe right around 10. Their response rate, though, is very high, and I think we're going to see a lot more about this particular drug. Well, at least now, and at least for the DREAM2 protocol, that was a mandated entry criteria that you had to be daratumumab refractory. It could be a single agent or it could be in combo, but you had to have been exposed. So we all know that's a tough group of patients, and other studies that have been done show that the survival often for people who are daratumumab refractory is in months, and somewhere between, in the studies that have been done, like 5 to 9 months. So it's a tough group.